Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. No, I'm not in it because I'm not sitting on the table. I just thought I'd do a quick update on my Phalaenopsis. Now this group live on the kitchen windowsill unless I'm watering them, and there's another one that lives out here and seems to manage to survive the cold. It's been doing it for some time. But that's a mounted orchid, so we'll have a look at that in a minute. Right, so on the end of this video I'll put links to a couple of other videos in what effectively is a series that started when I first bought these Phalaenopsis. They all live in a playlist called Store-Bought Phalaenopsis, I think, from memory. Which obviously you can look up on my main channel page. There's a list of all the playlists there, but there's quite a few videos in that playlist. But basically I'll select a couple of videos from that playlist, sort of showing some progress. I'll probably pick on a repotting one and whatever, perhaps the very first one when I first bought them, because basically there are 3 plants here. Actually there's more, but I'll explain. So we've got this little one here, which is a mini Phalaenopsis. It's not growing very well. It's not happy with I'm not happy with the leaf colour or the markings on it. But what it has done is grown a little plantlet from the base. Now some Phalaenopsis do that. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it, but I've only just noticed today I've got root growth. And that's the first root growth for some considerable time, and that root, wherever it's gone, is on the main plant. These two, well actually no, that is on the main plant too, but these 2 aerial roots here, this one is on the main plant and the other one crossing underneath it is on the little plantlet. But I'm going to leave them joined together, so they'll just stay as they are. No reason to separate those 2, they'll either grow into a bush or they won't. Now here we've got one plant that had 2 plants in the pot, and then another plant that was bought at the same time, and then another one that was added to. And because there's only one with a tag on, I'm not quite sure what's going on and what's what. I'm good like that. Right, so, this was the one that was bought separately. I only know that because it's actually got a store label on. So this is the most recent acquisition, bought most recently. Can't remember where from, probably from Burnham's actually. It's a nice strong plant, but what's wrong with this one basically is very little, apart from the fact we haven't got root activity. And what I have noticed now, these are in brighter light on the kitchen windowsill than they would have been at the other place. I'm now getting algae in the pots. Now that means one of 2 things. I'm either going to have to put a black pot round the outside to stop the algae, but once the algae gets bad, if you do that, you kill the algae. And the algae deteriorates, turns very acidic, and it's not nice stuff in the pot. It goes slimy, it's horrible. So once it gets bad like that, the only real thing you can do with that is to repot it. So this one needs a repot. And we need to find somewhere to put the ones I've dealt with. So that's the most recent one that I bought. And then this one is not that healthy a plant in as much as it's lost more leaves than it's grown, but nonetheless the leaves it's grown are a good size, and this one's currently in bloom. 4 buds, 3 open. This one has got some quite nice roots in the pot, although I don't see any green root tips at the moment. But again, if this one likes it warmer, it will get that soon. You know, the nighttime temperatures will start creeping up. Obviously I don't leave the heating on at night, and the kitchen can drop down quite a bit overnight. The lowest I've seen it, I got up in the morning and it was just below 14 degrees C. That's a bit lower than Phalaenopsis would like. Their low ought to be 18 to 20 really. Keep them really, really happy. They'll survive in lower temperatures. That's not the same as being happy. So that's that one, and that's got a trade name on it of, what is it? Anthera Amsterdam, but that's not a proper name, it's a trade name. And then the other two were both in the same pot, and these two haven't bloomed since I got them. Now this one looks like a good strong plant. It's got a good root system on it. There's plenty of roots in there for the size of the plant, but again I haven't got active root tips at the moment. I'm also losing a leaf. This leaf will come off soon. Now with Phalaenopsis, old leaves at the bottom, not at the top, or definitely not in the centre, will naturally die off. If you start losing more leaves than you're gaining, then there's something not quite right. And that could be not enough roots and the plant is sacrificing the older leaves. It could be a nutrient issue and it's actually drawing nutrients from the old part of the plant to keep the new part going. I'm not going to go into which one or which ones that could be. You can look it up if you feel so inclined. But it's not a bad plant. We've got, on the good leaves, we've got 2, 4, 6 and a new one coming. So that'll be a 7-leaved plant. It will have 8, but this one is not long for the world. And with old leaves at the bottom of the plant like that, I let them drop. They will naturally separate from the plant and just fall off. And when they do that, they've got a nice callus. You know, I've got a feeling that might be a... No, it's not, can't be. It looks like there might be a spike coming on that one. Anyway, but the leaves will callus over and seal. And it saves getting any infections or any problems where the leaf comes off. If you tear it, you damage the main stem, basically. And it could get an infection. So if you don't do that, then you won't. And then this was the little one that was in the same pot. And again, this has got some active root tips, unlike the others. So it's got a growing root system. There's a little branch coming there. And then we've got some green tips down here. And that is a spike, just there. So that could be that the other one has a spike as well, because they're the same plant, basically. They're in the same pot. And this little plant has never bloomed. But again, we've got tinges of algae. Not a lot, tinges. So what I can do with this one, I'll have to venture down in the shed, is get a black pot and stick this one in a black pot. The little bit of algae that's there will then die off and it will stop any more growing. Now I'm prepared to do that with that one because the amount of algae is just there and there. That's all there is. I don't mind killing that amount. Yeah? So that's the state of play with these. Got no algae showing on that one. And no algae showing on that one. And quite a bit on the first one we looked at. That needs dealing with, so I'll have to have a repot, unfortunately. Now, I'll look that up to find out when that was repotted, and if it wasn't repotted long ago, what I will do with the media is I'll just put it in a saucepan of boiling water and leave it for a bit, give it a swoosh round, wait till it cools off, and put it back in the pot. And give the pot a good clean. Right, and the other one, the Phalaenopsis, this one has got a name. It's the only one with a real name. That's if I can still read the tag, because it's one of my old ones. Oh no, that has not got its name on it. I'll do a pop-up because this one has got a name. This one just says, it says Phalaenopsis hybrid, pale yellow, pink spots, magenta centre. So I'm looking forward to this coming back into bloom. It's got a nice spike on it. I think last time it spiked it only had 2 buds, or not many anyway. The plant itself is quite good, but older leaves are starting to go. Now this could well be a nutrient issue with this one, because at the moment, because of the lower temperatures, it gets water poured all over it. So it's probably not hydrating as well as it should. And you have to bear in mind, if the hydration it gets is the only time it gets feed, and because it's a mounted orchid, it would have been fed with my other mounts during the winter, which is next to nothing, this is probably being underfed. So this one could do with some extra nutrients. Phalaenopsis are notorious to be at the higher end of feeding. They do like a bit. I was also told by somebody who was very good at feeding issues and nutrient issues that they are also calcium hogs. they seem to use more calcium than other plants. Yeah. Now, as I said, I'm not going to go into it, you can look it up, but if nutrients are being taken from the oldest part of the plant to support the front end of the plant, they must be mobile nutrients to allow the plant to do that. Calcium is a non-mobile nutrient, so it ain't calcium. But nonetheless, I think that just needs some more feed, quite honestly. If it drops those 2 oldest leaves, I don't mind, because the latest 2 leaves are larger than any of the other leaves. So now it's growing okay. And we do have some active root tips. So yeah, so that's just an update on my Phalaenopsis. They live on the kitchen windowsill. They don't get any extra humidity, but that naturally would be the most humid of the downstairs rooms, purely because it's where I boil the kettle for my coffees and where I do my cooking. Yeah. But they don't get any extra humidity. Most Phalaenopsis don't need high humidity. Normal rooms, unless you've got some sort of air conditioning unit that takes the moisture out of the air, then the air should probably have enough in it for Phalaenopsis. They could do with being a bit warmer at night, and therefore warmer in the day, because they do like a difference between the two. They're getting more than enough light in the window they're on now. It's a north-facing window, so it never sees any sun, but it's a bright window, if you know what I mean. So that's where they live. They seem to have taken to the move okay. They're certainly in a better position now than they were in the old house, because they were on the end of the dining room table, which was on the inside of the grow room. The grow room had a non-clear roof, opaque roof, with a bubble wrap layer on it, and the sides all had shade netting on. And they were on the inside of the, sliding doors to that area. So they weren't getting a lot of light, so they're getting a lot more light now. So they seem to have adapted okay, and they're looking good. Okay, so coming up on the end of the video, there'll be links to 2 more videos. All you've got to do is click or tap on them and it'll take you to those to watch that are in the store-bought Phalaenopsis series, and they're just like a look back at a time when these orchids were having something done to them or being talked about. I've had them quite a few years now, so so that's that. If you wish to do that, they're coming up now, and thanks for dropping by. See you next time.